Well, I'm advocating for as many illegals who are in Missouri to be deported as we possibly can.
We are going to deport illegal immigrants.
We will begin the largest deportation operation in American history.
On the precipice of a new era in American politics, immigration, a pressure point. Tonight, First Alert 4 investigates immigration and people living here illegally.
Plus, what proposals of mass deportation may mean for St. Louis, Missouri, and Illinois.
I'm not here to do nothing bad. I'm here to work.
St. Louis is also a city that has been built with immigrants.
The Mississippi River in the past, a path for people seeking something new.
An influx of immigrants built the region's backbone. But now, what's the future, especially for those living here without legal status?
Maybe it's worth it to risk my life to find something better for my family.
This is Beyond the Border, Unauthorized Immigrants in St. Louis. Fiery feelings on all sides of America's complex immigration issue.
The question is, how will Donald Trump's deportation plan play out in the bi-state? I'm David Amilati.
And I'm Lauren Traeger, and together we are the First Alert 4 Investigates team. There are no borders here, of course, but just how many undocumented immigrants live in our region and what happens if they're removed? These are some of the questions First Alert 4 Investigates set out to tackle. The immigration issue presents many challenges. Data is lacking, some are fearful, and others are angry. But we want to give you the facts before a new administration takes shape.
Is it realistic to deport everyone who's here illegally?
You have no choice. First of all, they're costing us a fortune. But we're starting with the criminals, and we got to do it. And then we're starting with others, and we're going to see how it goes.
Who are the others?
Others are other people outside of criminals.
So let's first define who we'll be talking about. Those in our country unlawfully, meaning without inspection by the U.S. government, but not necessarily off its radar. We won't refer to them as illegal, nor as aliens. Some crossed into the country illegally. Some arrived here legally, say on a visa that expired. They are all undocumented or unauthorized, and one St. Louis expert says they're all around us. But just how many are here? It's a number difficult to calculate. Even Missouri's own U.S. Senator Eric Schmitt did not have any more than a ballpark figure.
I think I've seen a number recently. It's in the in the thousands, it's a problem.
So let's take a look. Researchers say nationwide immigrants considered undocumented live mostly in just a handful of states: California, Texas, Florida, New York, New Jersey, and Illinois. A 2022 American Immigration Policy Study says there are more than 460,000 undocumented immigrants in Illinois, most though in the Chicago area. In Missouri, that number was around 59,000, just 1% of Missouri's overall population. And of those who are here not legally, more than half, 55%, have been here more than 10 years. First Alert 4 Investigates met with one undocumented immigrant. He's proud to call St. Louis home, but he says he does fear what's to come. Tonight, he shares who he is and why he wants to stay here.
I'm not here to do nothing bad. I'm here to work.
Meet Luis. He lives in St. Louis and works as a landscaper.
For me, it's like a career. I like it.
He tells me he provides for his wife and 4 kids.
And I feel I'm on the side of the good people.
Luis says he came to the United States as a child, just months before 9/11.
So I feel I belong to here.
He says his father paid coyotes to get his family into the United States. A coyote is a person who smuggles immigrants across the Mexico-United States border. It is roughly 1,700 miles from his hometown in Mexico to St. Louis.
They help you to cross, or you take your chance by yourself. Both ways you're taking a risk.
Today, his mother and father both live nearby. And like Luis and his wife, they are unauthorized.
That way, my mom and my dad, they can meet his grandkid, you know?
Keeping his family together is his top priority, which is why he's agreeing to explain how he's able to work, own a home, get married, all legally, despite not having a legal status to be in the U.S. He says he is able to buy a house and car with an ITIN number. It's given by the IRS and shows proof of paying taxes. He says he uses this number to get a bank loan. Luis and his wife have a signed wedding certificate on file with the city of St. Louis. With no driver's license, he says he uses a government-issued passport for ID. And how did you get the passport?
To the Mexican consulate.
And where is that?
Kansas City. Sometimes they have a mobile mobile unit that come here.
It is these reasons Luis says unauthorized immigrants are far from undocumented.
They know me.
This is why he disagrees with claims he and people like him are stealing jobs from U.S. citizens.
Do you agree with that?
No.
Do you think it's wrong for your employer to hire people who are undocumented?
No. Because he give a chance to everybody. They just don't want to be doing the job we do. As soon as I work is going to provide food to the table, we're going to do it. No matter it's like hard, easy, or dirty, or clean, we're going to do it.
No matter how hard he works, his status is still the same, and many are critical of his existence in the country, while millions immigrate legally into the United States each year.
Is that fair?
That person was able to come here the right way. He have that luck. I don't have that option.
He says immigrants, legal or not, in 2025 will most likely have fewer options, with President-elect Donald Trump promising mass deportations.
People is going to be more afraid to be here because they feel like they have to be watching their back all the time.
Is there a concern that the government could take your parents, you and your wife, deport you back to Mexico and be separated from your kids?
It's a little bit scary, I'm not going to lie, to one day, get in trouble, sent back to Mexico and not be able to see my family. But in the same time, I try not to think about it.
Now in the new year, there might be a path for Luis for citizenship through a U visa, and recently found a lawyer willing to help him get that permit. It will grant him 4 years to work legally, and in that time, he can get a green card or lawful permanent residency.
I just feel more like like American.
If you had to do it all over again, would you move to Missouri?
Yeah, I feel, for me, I'm from here,
Experts tell us it's not illegal to rent to an undocumented person, so it all depends on landlords as to where they live. Economists also tell us they tend to live wherever there are jobs to work.
Now, one question we have heard, do undocumented immigrants benefit our economy? The American Immigration Council estimates undocumented people in Illinois pay $4.2 billion in local, state, and federal taxes.
And in Missouri, nearly 82% of those undocumented are of working age, contributing $311 million to Missouri's economy in taxes.
These jobs are being filled all over town, here in Belleville, St. Louis, all over the country. So saying that we're just going to take all of this workforce and send them out of the country would be radically disruptive to our everyday life. And I think that's misunderstood.
That's Chris Eckert, 7th-generation farmer and president of the Eckert's Family Farms. He says his family enrolled in the H-2A program in 1987, a federal program to use seasonal migrant workers. Eckert tells me the United States cannot have a fruit and vegetable industry without undocumented immigrants. And if that group is mass deported, it will force Missouri and Illinois farms to close radically, driving up the costs of everyday life. Legal experts tell us some immigrants use falsified documents or get paid under the table. But while employers can be prosecuted for hiring undocumented workers, few ever are. Missouri's Attorney General has been attempting to change that by soliciting information from the public.
One of the biggest arguments for removing undocumented people from the country is crime, with several high-profile cases dominating the spotlight. Coming up next, we dive into just how many people here illegally are convicted criminals, and where are they?
To the extent we find people who are here illegally, who are criminals, and they exist, they need to go, like right away.
It's an argument repeated by many people supporting mass deportation, spotlighting high-profile cases around the country and some right here in our area. One example of that is this man right here, Ramon Chavez Rodriguez, accused of a DWI accident last year that killed a St. Louis police officer. He was already in deportation proceedings at the time of the incident and had past criminal convictions. Then there's Jose Barrera Amaya from Honduras, in the country illegally, now facing charges for stabbing 2 people in O'Fallon, Missouri last year. But multiple studies show statistically, immigrants are actually far less likely to commit crimes. Just last year, a study from Northwestern University found immigrants today are 60% less likely to be incarcerated than people born here. But Trump and allies have pointed to data from ICE, which says of the 7.7 million cases on their immigration dockets, some 425,000 immigrants in the country have criminal convictions on their records, including 13,000 convicted of murder and nearly 16,000 convicted of sexual assault. However, there is one important part of the puzzle missing. The federal government says many of those very well may be in state prisons carrying out sentences. But in our region, we simply don't know how many unauthorized immigrants are in taxpayer-supported prisons. Both the Missouri and Illinois Department of Corrections say they do not track citizenship status of inmates.
Still, soon to be President Trump's plan, he says, will target, quote, criminals and beyond.
On my first day back in the Oval Office, I will sign a historic slate of executive orders to close our border to illegal aliens and stop the invasion of our country. And on that same day, we will begin the largest deportation operation in American history.
President-elect Donald Trump now working towards this promise. His incoming border czar, Tom Homan, says he's preparing to find and detain millions of unauthorized immigrants.
We need at least 100,000 beds, but I'm not going to put a limit on it. I'm telling the minimum we need 100,000 beds because we got a big population to look for.
Homan told the Washington Post he plans to bring back raids on businesses where immigrants may be working. And he says the roundup could include families, leaving it to unauthorized parents whether their U.S.-born children will be deported with them.
We're dealing here with American citizens who can't speak for themselves, children that may now be deported from America.
Homan, who oversaw the policy that separated some 3,000 children from their parents during Trump's first term in office, says the mass deportations of unauthorized immigrants will begin on day one of the new Trump administration. He estimates the plan will cost roughly 10 times ICE's annual budget.
$86 billion is a start. We need at least that to do this operation. We got to buy beds. We got to have we got to do removal flights and ground transportation and medical care.
Get the shackles off of our law enforcement. Allow them to do their jobs. That's what we should do. It's not hard. It's the law.
Both Missouri senators support Trump's plans and are critical of President Biden, claiming federal agents haven't been allowed to do their jobs. So we wanted to see the actual data, see what it says. According to a new report from ICE, the department reached a 10-year high in deportations, deporting more than 271,000 unauthorized immigrants in fiscal year 2024. 30% of those in 2024, nearly 89,000, had criminal convictions.
President Obama went after high targets that were easily identifiable and removable. If we go after families with children, and we start to say that some of the children of some of the families are American citizens, you're going to see the process slow down immediately.
Now, President Trump did come close to President Biden's numbers in 2019. In the peak under his first administration, ICE deported 267,000 immigrants. That is a much smaller number than the millions some of his supporters hope to remove in this next term.
Exactly how the president-elect will carry out mass deportation is something we just don't know yet. So we asked a local immigration attorney how the administration could expedite an already overwhelmed immigration system.
It'll be interesting to see whether they try to approach things administratively first, legislatively, or both. I anticipate that we're going to see sort of a shock and awe in the first 2 months of the administration where they try to scare all the immigrants, scare people that care about immigrants, and then rallying the people that voted for them.
Now, Jim Hacking says already the court systems are so bogged down, they get trial dates 3 years down the road. And he says the law and the Constitution requires even undocumented people to get due process in many cases. The president, he says, has a lot of leeway, though, through executive orders and legislation to attempt to speed up the process. Many of those things, though, Hacking says, could result in lawsuits.
I think it'd be very problematic for us to speed up that process too much, to eliminate due process, because what we've already seen before is U.S. citizens getting deported, and I think you just see more of that.
What we won't see, he says, is an acceleration of ways in which people can come here legally. No reopening of Ellis Island, for an example, and no quicker ways for people already here to become naturalized citizens. One of the big questions, too, will families be separated? According to the Pew Research Center, about 4.4 million children in the U.S. born here and therefore citizens live with an undocumented parent.
Would you support deporting natural-born children if their parents or parents are here undocumented?
Yeah, we got a long way to go to get to there. But I think President Trump's been pretty clear. One way to solve that problem is that if you're here illegally, you're going to be deported. And we can't simply have a bunch of excuses. There are 15 million people here illegally, Lauren.
Now, plans for exactly what role Missouri or Illinois would play in a mass deportation plan remain to be seen. There is no immigration court in our region. The closest courts are in Kansas City and Chicago. But Missouri's new governor, Mike Kehoe, has pledged support of the president-elect's initiatives. Governor Pritzker in Illinois has vowed to fight back against raids and other immigration enforcement.
And how to increase manpower and even detention space is definitely on the table. CBS News analysts say to deport just 1 million people would cost taxpayers $20 billion. New funding that would have to be approved in both chambers of Congress. And that's not the only economic cost that we're examining. Some say losing millions of workers could have an impact on your bottom line. That is next. What happens to our economy if millions of unauthorized immigrants are gone? Of the 11 million undocumented in our country, the University of New Hampshire says 8 million are in the workforce. And that's about 5% of the nation's overall workers. Economists estimate that loss could mean higher prices, namely food, and lower wages for all workers because less business will zap cash flow. Here's a take from one local business owner in St. Louis, for years unauthorized, now a U.S. citizen.
We are here with the community, and we are family, and we have a saying, mi casa es tu casa. That means my house is your house.
Pastry chef Saul Juarez says if the federal government deports the unauthorized and scares off our immigrant population, businesses will crumble.
El Torito, which is a Hispanic store. There is Latinoamericana, which is also. And then they have taquerias. On the taquerias, it's not just the Hispanic people that come.
And hurt the people who rely on their goods.
Once we go to the store to buy those tomatoes, those strawberries, all the lettuce, we are the ones that are going to pay the price.
Saul says a bigger problem is politicians don't have a plan to replace these workers.
Is there a case where there was a white person doing the dishes and they say, you know what, I have a Mexican guy that's going to do your job. You're out of here. You're fired.
Should they be allowed here?
I'm not going to say yes, they should be here. I'm not going to say no, they should be not, because we all have different reasons why we came to the United States.
Saul says he entered the country illegally. He's a U.S. citizen, but it took him 17 years and almost $30,000 to do it.
Still to come, the local legislation taking aim at the undocumented, those behind the proposals including one turning citizens into bounty hunters. And on the other side, those at the ready to fight for immigrants. St. Louis's safe spaces, next.
Developing this week, Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe issuing executive orders aimed at cracking down on immigration violations.
He is ordering training for select officers to assist in federal efforts to find those in the country illegally. Our John Kipper spoke to local lawmakers also pushing their own plans.
While legal immigration falls under federal law, Republicans in the Missouri General Assembly are working to make illegal immigration into the state a criminal offense. And there are multiple bills that would include stiff penalties if somebody breaks that law. The most aggressive bill comes from newly elected state senator David Gregory.
We are going to ensure we're going to create our own kind of state ICE program.
Gregory wants to deputize law enforcement to track down undocumented immigrants, but there's just one problem.
We're already short police officers.
So his bill would create a program registering bail bond agents as licensed state bounty hunters to take in undocumented immigrants. While his Republican colleague, Senator Nick Schroer, wants the state to take action on illegal immigration, he's concerned about everyday citizens capturing potential migrants.
To make sure that, we're not just having Dog the Bounty Hunter going wild and capturing people that he has no idea if they're illegal or not.
Republican Senator Curtis Trent proposes making illegal immigration against the law in Missouri, carrying a fine of $100,000 and a trip to a border point of entry. While some worry a sweep of undocumented migrants would lead to unfilled jobs, Trent says Missourians can do those jobs.
So a lot of people who have left the workforce in frustration due to their inability to get a job will come back into the workforce if those jobs become available.
And Democratic State Senator Carla May tells me she believes at least Gregory's bill is a juvenile solution, one that would pit neighbors against each other. Reporting in studio, John Kipper, First Alert 4.
Meanwhile, multiple local organizations are on alert, setting up to help fight back against mass deportation actions. Our Cameron Bopp reports.
St. Louis organizations have been helping immigrants find pathways to citizenship or assimilate for decades.
When you have organization like MICA Project that work with you and help you with this process, it's much better.
Karina, an immigrant from Peru, spent years and thousands of dollars to naturalize and become a U.S. citizen. She wishes she had the help of St. Louis nonprofit, the MICA Project. Now the group is preparing for what's to come.
More consultations so that people can know what they're eligible for and what pathways they might have, and have information about how to keep their families safe.
Faith communities are also under fire. Under the first Trump administration, ICE largely avoided enforcement actions in churches, experts say because of optics, creating informal, safe spaces for immigrants. And during that time, local churches served as sanctuaries of the undocumented in our area.
There's the politics and there's the people. There's the real people.
Then, under Biden, the Department of Homeland Security restricted ICE from making arrests at churches. Now, media reporting shows the Trump administration plans to scrap that policy.
The scary thing for people to have that safe space potentially be breached.
And on top of these resources at risk, the advocacy groups we spoke with and immigrants themselves tell us they fear heightened racism and xenophobia as the rhetoric surrounding immigrants changes. It's a problem they tell us is nothing new to them and one that they're ready to tackle head on. For First Alert 4, I'm Cameron Bopp.
Everyone we spoke to for this special report shared the same thoughts, that we just don't know yet exactly how mass deportation plans could play out.
And again, there are many strong feelings on all sides, lots of nuance and complexities in the law and the issues. As the months ahead unfold, we want to hear from you. If you've got something regarding immigration you want us to look into, email us at investigates@firstalert4.com. And if you want to learn more, we've also put a lot of the data and more resources for you on our news app.
Thank you for watching Beyond the Border, Unauthorized Immigrants in St. Louis.